All right, so 3.5, we are going to start by reviewing 3.4. So this is a review of what we did in 3.4. It is our last over first. This one we could actually factor by grouping, but we're going to practice doing our last over first. So what are factors of our last term here? 1 and 3. So I'm going to say plus or minus 1 and 3 because it could be positive or negative. Over factors of our first, what are factors of the first term? So just plus or minus 1. So that just makes all of these whole numbers. So we're going to do synthetic division. What goes inside the box? 1, negative 3, 1, and negative 3. And then what do you want to try first? I want to try 3 first. So we're going to drop down the 1, multiply on the outside. We get 3, add 0, multiply 0, add 1, multiply 3, add 0. Does it work? Yes. So one of our answers is what? 3. So x equals 3. Now if we start with x to the third power, what's our answer here going to start with? X squared. So it'll be x squared plus 0x plus 1. So 0x just goes away. So it's just x squared plus 1. Yeah. Now typically we would say we would factor this, but if we set it equal to 0, we could actually solve without factoring. How would we solve here? Subtract the 1. So x squared equals negative 1. Take the square root, perfect. So x equals what? Plus or minus, but what's the square root of negative 1? I. It's imaginary. So here we have 2 imaginary solutions. So we have 3, positive I and negative I. Or if you wanted to leave it as plus or minus I, that's fine too. But these are 3 answers. Yeah, you could leave it as plus or minus. So these are 3 solutions. 2 of them just so happen to be imaginary. Doing your last over first, you won't be able to find imaginary numbers doing that way, but you can find a real number, make your answer smaller, and then factor it from there or solve from there. Exactly how we did here. On the homework, it'll say, I think it'll be rational zeros, or it'll say real zeros. It'll say irrational. Wednesday. And then it'll say imaginary. So rational zeros would be any real numbers, so that would be 3. Irrational are any square roots. We don't have any square roots here, so there are no irrational numbers. And then imaginary are any answers with I, so that would be plus or minus I. So irrational would... What was your question?
What's irrational?
Square roots. Here we don't have any answers with square roots, so there are none. But this would be how the homework writes it. So the new part of 3.4, it's going to give us the zeros, and we have to write the polynomial function. So in A, it says that we have zeros 2 and negative 2, and we want to write the polynomial function. So to do that, we always say x minus the number. So we would say x minus 2. How would we write x minus negative 2? X plus 2. So you always just flip the sign in the middle. Now when we're writing our polynomial, we're just going to FOIL this out. So we're going to FOIL. So we're kind of doing the same thing that we were doing, but in reverse. It's starting with the answers, and we have to write the polynomial. So when we FOIL, we get x squared minus 2x plus 2x minus 4. What would this simplify to? X squared minus 4, perfect. So that would be our answer. Let's do the same thing for B. So how would I write in factored form? How would I say negative 2, but in factored form? X plus 2. How would I say 0? Would I write x minus 0? How would we write that a little bit better?
You
But how do we say x minus 0? That would just be x. So I'm going to put the x out front because we're going to save that for last. That's going to be the easiest math that we'll do because we just distribute the x. So I'm just going to put it out front for now. And then how would I say 5? How would I write that? X minus 5. Perfect. So now I'm going to take these two and FOIL them out first. So we get x squared minus 5x plus 2x minus 10. We can combine our like terms, so x squared, what's negative 5x plus 2x? Negative 3x minus 10. And then we can't forget about that x that we have out front. The last step is we're just going to distribute the x. So it's easiest just to save that for last, because it's going to be the easiest math that you'll do. Just save the distributing for last. What's x times x squared? X cubed. What's x times negative 3x? Negative 3x squared. And x times negative 10? Negative 10x. So this would be our answer. Here we're going to practice factoring. So we're going to solve. We could either solve using last over first, or we can factor. For the first one, it would work either way. If you want to practice using your last over first, you totally can do that. This one we could actually factor though, because since we have x to the 4th power, when we write our factors, instead of being x plus something and x minus something, it would be x squared plus something and x squared plus something. So let's factor this like normal. What are two factors of negative 8 that add to 2? 4 and negative 2. Perfect. That multiplies to negative 8 and adds to 2. So we'd say x squared plus 4 and x squared minus 2. Now we're solving these. So what would we do next to solve? Set them both equal to 0. Perfect. So x squared plus 4 equals 0 and x squared minus 2 equals 0. What would we do to solve the first one?
X squared equals negative 4.
Awesome. Subtract 4. So x squared equals negative 4.
Square it.
Square root both sides. Perfect.
To what?
Awesome. So what x would equal, you're missing something though. Plus or minus. Anytime you take the square root of both sides, you need the plus or minus. The square root of 4 is 2, and since we have that negative under the square root, we have to include the I. So that negative comes outside, turns into an I, and the square root of 4 is 2. Let's do the same thing for our second equation. We're going to add 2 to both sides. So x squared equals 2. Square root both sides.
Plus or minus square root 2.
So x equals, perfect, plus or minus square root 2. Whenever you take the square root of both sides, you need the plus or minus. We can't evaluate the square root of 2, so we just leave it as square root 2. So these would be our 4 answers. We knew that we were going to have 4 answers from the start. We have 4 here. These 2 are imaginary. These 2 are irrational because we have square roots. Yeah, on the homework you do. All right, let's look at the one in the middle. Let's see if this factors. Do we have 2 factors of 23 that add to 10? No. It doesn't factor. So what does that mean if it doesn't factor? But what's our first? Since our first is 1, first over last wouldn't help us. So here we have to do the quadratic formula. So our quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So what's our a? 1. What's our b? And c? Perfect. So if something doesn't factor, you got to use your quadratic formula. If it's an x squared, it has to be a quadratic, which means it has to be x squared to use your quadratic formula. So negative 10 plus or minus the square root of b squared. What's 10 squared?
100.
100, minus 4 times 1 times 23,
92.
over 2a, so 2 times 1, which is 2. So let's do the math here. What's 4 times 23? 92. So negative 10 plus or minus the square root of, what's 100 minus 92?
8.
8 over 2. Can we simplify the square root of 8?
Yeah.
What does the square root of 8 simplify to?
2 square root
2 square root 2. If we were to break down the square root of 8, we have 4 and 2. 4 would break down into 2 and 2. So we have a pair of 2, so it would be 2 square root 2 over 2. Can we simplify this anymore?
Yeah.
If all 3 of your whole numbers are divisible by the same thing, you can simplify. What goes into 10 and 2?
Negative 5.
2 goes into both of them, or all of 3 of them. So this would be negative 5 plus or minus. Would I write 1 square root 2?
No, just do that.
Just square root 2. Would I put it over 1? Nope. If 1's in your denominator, you don't need it. So this is our answer. So I know it's been a while since we've done quadratic formula, simplifying. This is good to know. All right, lastly, let's do the third one. So we have 4 terms. If you want to try to factor by grouping, you can, but grouping's not going to work here. So if grouping doesn't work, what can we do? Last over first. So what we did in the last section. What are factors of our last? 1 and 29. So I'm going to say plus or minus 1 and 29. What are factors of our first? 1. So just plus or minus 1. So it just makes these whole numbers. What's going to go inside of our box? 1, 11, 39, 29. What do you want to try first? Sure, let's try 1. So we're going to drop down the 1, multiply, we get 11. Oh, we get 1. Add, we get 12, multiply, 12. Add, 51, multiply, 51. Add, is it going to be 0? No. As soon as you realize it doesn't work out, try something else. Let's try negative 1. So multiply, we get negative 1. Add, this would be 10. Multiply, negative 10. Add, 29. Multiply, negative 29. Add. Does it work? So what's one of our answers going to be? Negative 1. How do I find the other answers? Perfect. If our answer starts with x to the third power, or if our question starts with x to the third power, our answer is going to start with 1 less. So x squared plus 10x plus 29. Is that the same thing? Oh, it's almost the same that we just did. Do we have 2 factors of 29 that add to 10? No, so if it doesn't factor, what do we have to do? Quadratic formula. Do you want more practice doing the quadratic formula?
No.
I think you guys could do it from here. I'll write the answer on the board if you guys want to do it on your own. Use the last 10 minutes. Start working on the homework. Ask me questions if you have questions. Our quiz is Wednesday. So with number 4, how would I put this in factored form? X minus 4, awesome, and x plus 3. What would we do from here? FOIL. We get x squared plus 3x minus 4x minus 12. Then what should we do? Combine like terms. So x squared, what's 3x minus 4x? Minus x minus 12. All right, let's look at number 5. So how would we write this in factored form? Awesome. Typically we would say x plus 2/3, like we were writing it before. But whatever's in your denominator, you want to move that in front of the x. We don't want to FOIL with fractions. So move the denominator in front of the x. This would be 3x plus 2. And what would the other one be? X minus 1. Awesome. So when we FOIL this, what's 3x times x? 3x squared. 3x times negative 1. Negative 3x. 2 times x? Plus 2x. And minus 2. Awesome. What do we do next? Combine like terms. What's negative 3x plus 2? Awesome. So 3x squared minus x minus 2. Lastly, let's do number 6. So we have 3 terms here. We're doing the same thing. How would we write the first one in factored form? Awesome. 2x minus 5. We change the sign and move the denominator in front of the x. What would the next one be? X plus 1. And then the next one? 3x plus 2. Now you can't FOIL all 3 of these together, so we're just going to start by multiplying 2 of them. We'll get an answer, and then we'll multiply the third one to it. So let's FOIL these 2 together first. What's 2x times x? 2x squared plus 2x minus 5x minus 5. When we combine like terms, what do we get?
2x squared minus 3x minus 5.
Awesome. So 2x squared minus 3x minus 5. Now we're going to take that and we're going to multiply that with the third one. So 3x plus 2. Now we have 3 terms in the first one and 2 in the second. So just make sure everything in your first set of parentheses gets multiplied to everything in the second. So starting with 2x squared, we're going to distribute that to both things. 6x cubed, perfect.
4x squared
Plus 4x squared, awesome. Now moving on to the negative 3x.
negative 9x squared
Negative 9x squared.
negative 6x
Negative 6x, awesome. And then moving on to the negative 5. Negative 15x
negative 10.
minus 10. Last thing we want to do, let's combine our like terms. So starting with 6x cubed.
Minus 5x squared.
When we combine the x squared, so that would be minus 5x squared.
Negative 21x.
Negative 21x minus 10. Awesome. So this is our answer.